The Draft of World War II. Quite unlike other wars, such as the Vietnam War and the Iraq War, World War II was readily and openly supported by the citizens of the United States. The Second World War also contrasted in the way that conscription was leveraged. As opposed to acting as a cruel mistress, forcefully enlisting men left and right, the draft of World War II was a stern but encouraging figure of patriotism, nudging the men into following their hearts and defending the country they loved. The fact that it was the first peacetime draft didn't seem to bother anyone. You may be wondering, if there was so much support for the war, why was the draft even necessary in the first place? Well, it was really a matter of scale. While 2 million men volunteered, it was a fantastically huge war. 2.8 million more were drafted. The grand total is nearly 5 million men. To really understand the size of the war, take a look at the death count. 72 million. That's the equivalent of the Titanic sinking 47,461 more times. So yeah, this wasn't your average shindig. Support for the war manifested in many ways, much more than simply fighting the enemy directly. War devours materials like nobody's business, and because of the war's importance, when there was a shortage, the supplies went to those on the battlefield, not back home. Anyone not in the war was asked to ration gasoline by sharing cars with other citizens, food, growing and canning their own vegetables, and to buy war bonds, or is that blondes? Marketing at its finest. War bonds were basically loans for the government and also helped control inflation. While there were countless ways for a citizen to support America, one of the most famous examples of this were victory gardens. A victory garden was simply a vegetable garden, usually planted just outside a home, that would provide the owner's family food and thus allow more meals for the soldiers. These and many other propaganda posters appealed to all members and levels of society, even the famous, people like actors and celebrities. Drafting boards were told to go easy on such people, but social pressure on them was very high, particularly for Hollywood war heroes such as John Wayne. Henry Fonda, Jimmy Stewart, and Clark Gable all volunteered, and Henry Fonda was 37 and had a wife and 3 kids when he did. In any case, it's important to remember how well accepted the draft was at that time. It was considered a necessary evil, imperative to preserving the American way of life. Oh, and one last thing. Did you know the draft hasn't ended yet? Yes, I'm pointing at you.